Take you back to the 27th of August, which was 2002. It was the Tuesday, which is when the whole story broke. You walked out on the Bulldogs that day being the Tuesday or the Wednesday. The biggest question probably from me as an ex-player, why?
Yeah, well, I suppose I'd have to take it back to the Friday prior, which was we had a new CEO come into the football club, Campbell Rose. Had a meeting with Campbell Rose on that day, and Campbell suggested to me, I had 12 months of a contract left, suggested to me that the graph of where we were heading as a football club was heading down. If it was in a sales team or anything along those sort of lines, that there'd be serious questions asked. That he believed that at the time that if he had the full right of control, that I wouldn't be in the position going into the new year, but he realised from a board level that I had 12 months to go, and that if I couldn't significantly turn that graph around, that I wouldn't be coaching. I didn't see that we could turn it that quickly as what he said. From that meeting, I walked out of that meeting, walked straight to my car, rang my manager Craig Kelly and sort of said, I think we've got serious problems and I think that my time's up at the Whitten Oval. The regret is probably over that weekend I should have gone to see David.
So why didn't you go to see David?
Because I was upset.
To an outsider or to an insider, but
Yeah.
It looks like that you've had a conversation with Campbell Rose, who, to be honest, you probably didn't respect his view on football, and that maybe you took your bat and ball and went home and said, well, stuff you, I've been here for 4 years, I've done this. Who are you to speak to me?
I give my heart and soul to that football club for 14 years, and to have somebody walk in virtually on their first day and tell you that they wouldn't have you employed and sitting in the chair was a pretty bitter pill to take. And yeah, that's the way I reacted. I reacted in the fact that, well, if you don't want me here, I don't want to be here.
David, were you aware of that conversation? That
I was aware that Terry had a meeting with Campbell. I think Campbell has a slightly different view to Terry's interpretation of that meeting.
What's
I think
that view?
Campbell's view was to Terry, I've got a job to do. This club is in difficult territory. We're looking at a number of things. You've got a contract to run. And obviously, if I look at the history of the club with a coach after being there for 6-7 years, it's downward there. You've got to convince me that there's a future. Now, some of that was exploratory. Some of that was a new guy coming in to understand where the coaches was. Obviously, there was a disconnect there because Terry left the room, as we just heard, with a completely different view to where Campbell thought it was.
I was particularly aggrieved with the night before your second last game being hauled into a meeting and being confronted with what I was, and that was basically being confronted with your job on the line.
Yep.
And I was aggrieved by that, and I went out and put a plan in place immediately that's the case, because at the end of the day, I mean, my job is to put food on the table for your family, and at that stage I thought that was threatened. So therefore what I did was I sort of said, well, if that's going to be threatened by the football club that I love and I'm a life member of, well, I'm going to go out and make sure that I secure my own sort of situation for the future up.
And that's where I was disappointed when the facts have come out over a period of time that, given our relationship and our close working relationship, I don't think we had one raised voice, Terry.
No,
right?
Absolutely not.
We challenged each other.
He didn't come to you?
I was disappointed that Terry didn't feel comfortable enough to pick up and say, hey, Smorgo, could I come and see you? I've just had this discussion with Campbell and I don't understand it. Come and talk to me.
And then you guys had a meeting on the Monday night altogether. What came of that meeting?
Terry said that he thought about things and there were 5 clubs with coaching potential that he saw and he wants to chance his arm. And I said, Terry, why? And Terry didn't tell me of his concern after Campbell's meeting. It was more like, I think I've run my race here, I've lost my zest, my enthusiasm for the job, all those type of things.
On the Tuesday, went back into David's office. We decided that there was going to be a press conference, no problem whatsoever with that. I got down to my car and it was already announced on 3AW that the press conference was on and that I was going to be resigning at that press conference. So it gave me no chance to speak to the playing group. I should have, regardless of the circumstances, with the time that I'd put into that football club, been given the opportunity of actually being able to speak to my own playing group and let them know.
There has been a long-held belief by a lot of people in football that, and you've spoken about it, you're offered a contract by Sydney. Did that ever eventuate? Did you ever sign a contract with Sydney?
Look, it eventuated, but I mean, the circumstances right along the way has been the fact that it's been legalised, that I haven't been able to speak publicly about anything. As I sort of said back in that time, I found it very difficult. I made a decision to move. Everyone else that's actually moved in coaching terms, whether they're out of contract, in contract, who actually got there, just get on with the next part of their life and off it goes again.
Before that Friday, there'd been no talks with Sydney before that.
Nah, and I wasn't going anywhere, and I was at that stage. I was staying at the Bulldogs with 100%. But once I got to the stage where I felt that I was in jeopardy, and my family more particularly were in jeopardy, I wasn't going to stand there and cop that. And so then I started to look for what's my best alternatives. This one left me really sort of paddling, and look, I think I lost a lot of ground personally. I think how I was held around the general football scene has been impacted by that one decision.
Did that hurt?
Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. We all have pride in who we are as people. We all give of our best that we possibly can. As I said, I gave 9 years a life member at Hawthorn. I gave 14 years a life member at the Bulldogs. I was leaving home at 4:30 in the morning to try to make sure that this club could get better and that we could do things
And survive.
Yeah, and do things better, and you don't put that much time and effort into it. And I love the Western Bulldogs. I have no hesitation. People might sit back and go, well, how do you love them? You walked out on them. Well, I love my family more, and so therefore my major decision was my family. My next decision is the Western Bulldogs, and I felt that I had to leave.
I know, with Peter Gordon now as the president, I would hope there's an opportunity for Terry to come back to the club, and I think this discussion, this interview will finally put paid to all of the other rumours and suggestions for it, and life's too short to carry this for too long.
Appreciate your time today. I mean, it's cleared a fair bit up. It's the first time you guys have been in a room and spoken about it publicly for a long time. I think a lot of people will get some interest out of it, and appreciate you giving up your time today.
Thanks, Nathan.
Thanks, Terry.
Good on you.
Thanks, Brownie.
Cheers.